You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Den sig knappt framgången i en celery.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is episode number 13 of Angry Marks Rewind. Here on the Angry Marks Podcast Network, your number one source for pro wrestling and mixed martial arts news and information. Follow me on Twitter at Rowan Unruh. If you have any ideas for the show, if you want anything that you want us to review, email us at angrymarksrewind@gmail.com.
So we have had that idea, because I was going to suggest that, to have the fans pick a show at some point.
Mike Poulin. Mike, how you doing today?
Good evening. Sorry I interrupted your little spiel there.
You're interrupting my groove there, brother.
I apologize.
Oh, so how was your week in the world of pro wrestling?
Yeah, I went to a show Saturday.
All right, tell us about this. In the beginnings of a winter storm, traveling back, which is why we didn't have the show last night. Yeah, I was wondering. I was like texting you. I was like, has he given up on me? Like, have I?
No.
To the point where
I was at a friend's house all of yesterday because we had a storm on Saturday night into Sunday, which started, I'm guessing, sometime during the show I was at, which I will get to right now, which is, appropriately enough, since we'll be talking about the Royal Rumble at the end of the show, the Let's Wrestle, Let's Rumble, which was headlined by a Royal Rumble to crown the first ever Let's Wrestle champion, which was won. Oh, I'll actually get to that. Because here's the rest of your card. We have retrosexual Anthony Green going over the Pine Prince A Negro. We have Eric Johnson quickly going over Matt Mahoney after attacking him and beating him up on the floor for like 5 minutes. We also have the Main State Posse going over the Syndicate. We had Devian, I think her name is actually, going over Channing Thomas. No, not Channing Tatum. He's not Magic Mike. And we have your main event, which was the 30-man Rumble, which was... Oh, we also had a Scramble, which was Anton Nicholas going over Xavier Bell, Gene Bauer, and a few other people whose names I can't remember. And there was a scary spot in the match where Anton goes for a a shooting star press and botches and hits like the top rope and falls to the floor.
Okay, now I saw a gif of someone doing that. Was that at that show?
If it is, that traveled quick.
Was it he's a fairly skinny fellow with poofy hair?
That kind of looks like Kofi Kingston?
Well,
skinnier.
He's a white fellow.
Except skinnier? No, it wasn't him then.
Okay, well then it's an epidemic.
It'll be on Botchamania in a few weeks. Probably the next one, I would imagine.
It's an epidemic of people botching the shooting star press.
Well, I mean, Paul London did it once too.
Yeah, because I saw actually a few of them in the last 2 weeks, so I thought maybe this was the show. So,
oh no, that'll probably be on Botchamania in the coming weeks, though, I'd imagine. And then your main event, it is the Let's Rumble, which is won by Davian, who is now the first ever Let's Wrestle champion, but is attacked after the match by Mike Montero, which sets up her first title defense against Montero, which will be March 23rd when Let's Wrestle has their next show.
Who on this roster can you see as a potential prospect for one of the major companies down the road?
Anthony Green and Aiden Agro, for sure.
Okay, how are their physiques? Are they people?
Aiden, they're both like... I'd say Aiden has the
do they look like wrestlers as opposed to indie guys? I guess that's the nicest way for me to say it.
Aiden kind of looks like someone that Vince would hire because he's got the physique for it, and I think Vince would like I think Vince would like the retrosexual gimmick and probably the platinum honeys that Green comes out with.
You don't think that gimmick would be changed immediately?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think in this, although, based on this week's TV, I don't know what to expect anymore, so.
Yep. Also, Limitless Wrestling will be crowning their first champion at their next show on March 9th in a 4-way match, with Ace Romero, MJF, not Teddy Hart, but he's on the show, Anthony Green, and JT Dunn. And also on that show will be Teddy Hart, the Hurricane, and Tommy Dreamer.
Nice.
Yes.
So how can people go about seeing this show?
I'm not sure if Let's Wrestle has DVDs, but I know you can check Let's Wrestle out on Facebook. And then for Limitless Wrestling, you go to www.limitlesswrestling.com, and you can find, I think the most recent DVD I saw up there was their anniversary show, which was in September. So they have a little bit of a turnaround time with getting the DVDs, usually about in between the previous show and the next one.
Are they available on any of the streaming services that you know of?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, well that might be something they can look forward to in the near future. The show that we're about to take a look at, it's our first TNA offering, and it is...
And it won't be our last. We'll have another one in the future.
Oh my god, are you sure?
I hope, maybe. Because this show is meh.
This is another episode of the bad and the...
Why do we watch this?
Because, okay, the theme of this show...
Because we hate ourselves.
The theme of this show is, we are stupid. Fans are stupid. What we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, is the TNA Hard Justice pay-per-view of 2008. And I went out of my way to try and find this online, and the best way that I could find it was the Global Wrestling Network site.
Yep.
Yeah, GWN. It's basically TNA/Impact's streaming service where all their on-demand stuff. They give you a 30-day free trial. So, I'll give them thumbs up for that. Probably it's about twice as glitchy as WWE Network. It's not
that's pretty
great.
glitchy.
This show took me no less than 4 sittings to get through.
Yikes.
And it's not just because of the quality, because there is some quality on this show, I will say. Like there is a bright spot.
But just everything else surrounding it.
All I'll say is if you have not seen this show, if I didn't know Kurt Angle was alive and well today, I would have thought that he had been deceased after this show. But we'll get to that.
Is this In Your House 4 levels of bad that we're about to get into?
Oh, no. I don't think anything can top that one.
I'll have to try at some point.
Hey, this is not a competition to see who can piss off the other one more. We're supposed to enjoy doing this.
Yes.
We don't get paid for this. Let's enjoy what we're doing here.
Yes.
I think the level goes Heroes of Wrestling, In Your House 4, and then there's a long gap between
Great American Bash 91,
between second
King of the Ring 95, any pay-per-view from WCW and WWF in 90, well, most of the ones from 99 at least. 99, not a good year for either company.
No, but that's, their TV ratings were through the roof, but they couldn't put on a good pay-per-view to save their life.
Right. And of course, we'll get into some of those because we're hitting anniversaries of those shows this year.
Hard Justice 2008 came from the TNA hotbed of Trenton, New Jersey. I can't tell you the number of times I've thought of Trenton, New Jersey, and thought of...
I give it to TNA for this, because this was a year where they did a lot of their pay-per-views outside of the Impact Zone, which is a good idea in theory, but...
In execution, it might not have been great, because...
No!
The crowd was dead for about 90% of this.
Well, because I don't think they know who half the wrestlers are.
So, the opening video package, we get the disembodied voice, which is just a blatant ripoff of
Law and Order.
Of Law and Order. In TNA, there are violent criminal offenses, and there are those who seek hard...
And there is no one that'll get a lawsuit for this.
These are their stories. Dun dun. And then I'm just expecting to see, to fade to black and then say executive producer Dick Wolf.
I was going to say Sam Waterston.
So we're already 20 seconds into this show and I'm already annoyed.
And you're about to get more annoyed because we have a terrible live performance coming up. We get
video recap packages of, I guess, their main programs. We get the shots of AJ kissing Karen Angle, of which he would blatantly deny later on in the show.
I didn't do it. I was not sleep. Well, no, he was denying that he was sleeping with Angle's wife.
Okay,
He did not deny that he didn't kiss her.
I should preface this by saying 2008 was not my most attentive year in the world of pro wrestling, so you probably know a whole lot more about this sort of time frame than I do, so you're going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to this.
Oh, good God.
So we get Sting coming to the building. He looks like every high school baseball coach.
And Lauren is basically harassing him to get comments.
If Lauren was harassing me for anything, I would say yes.
I wouldn't mind, but come on now. He's obviously blown you off every time. And, oh God, innuendo.
She's learned
visuals and innuendo.
Ooh, I just got that. We get a rap performance.
Yeah.
I went out of my way to try and get some research on these individuals, and I went to none other than Angry Mark's own resident rap expert, Stevie J. And I asked him, hey, have you heard of Filthy and Grandmaster Kaz and Melly Mel? And surprisingly enough, I got quite a bit of information, but I'm going to see if I can get Stevie on one time just to talk about Melly Mel and Grandmaster Kaz and Filthy. And they're singing the Hard Justice, the Hard Justice theme song of Ah Ya Ya, Ah Ya Ya. And then they're talking about laying concrete and
all things that have nothing to do with Impact.
This was not the Run DMC WrestleMania 5 rap.
WrestleMania, which is equally bad, but
at least in this one, the sound was better. I don't think Run DMC had their mics plugged in. So, Trenton, New Jersey, a hotbed for hip hop. Our announced team, as per the usual in this time frame, is Mike Tenay and Don West.
The gargoyle and the salesman.
The first thing Mike says is, how will Sting affect the show? He wasn't on the card. Why should I care?
Well, he's kind of been attacking Samoa Joe going into this show. He did at the end of the last pay-per-view. And I think Joe's had been calling him out for like the last couple weeks. Both Joe and AJ had been calling him out for the last couple weeks.
Yeah, Sting has been doing his WCW gimmick of just hanging out in the rafters. He didn't bring his vulture. That was where we're missing that.
His vulture with a note, like from the last Clash of the Champions.
Do we want the vulture or do we want the guard bird?
Ooh. Or do we want the creepy kid that was new, the WCW producer's kid doing the promo?
Our opening match.
That's a show we'll have to cover one day.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I would have vetoed that immediately. Our opening match is for the X Division title. We get Petey Williams, the champion, in his Scott Steiner Halloween costume, versus Consequences Creed, better known to WWE fans as Xavier Woods. And they're running down the tail of the tape, and the rap music is still playing. So I can only assume this rap music was playing on a continuous 10-minute loop.
No, it was their theme for the show.
So Petey looks like a jacked up Eminem in this. This was the time where he was, I guess, Scott Steiner's, I don't know,
Little Petey Pump.
Little Maple Leaf Muscle, I think they call it.
Yeah.
So Petey is accompanied by Raka Khan. I completely forgot about her.
Tranisha Biggers. I noticed Kurt Angle stalked her and got in trouble. That's about all I know about her.
Yeah, I know that the rumors or innuendos were that the two of them were, well, keeping each other company on the road.
Oh, God.
I want to talk about this referee, Slick Johnson.
Yes.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yes, go ahead.
He's wearing pretty much black board shorts and what looks like knee-high compression socks with like a long sleeve referee shirt and a bow tie, and he's bald. Who the fuck approved this wardrobe?
Was he the NWO referee in WCW?
No, that was Nick Patrick.
He? Oh, after that, because I know in like '99.
Oh God, I don't remember.
Because I know there was a black guy in a ref suit hanging out with Steiner. I don't think it was someone that worked at the Foot Locker.
So right off the bat, Petey tries a Canadian Destroyer after doing some flips. Petey then he gets sent outside, and Creed attempts a flip dive, but he hit the back of his head on the apron on the way down. So that looked really sloppy.
Oof.
And the director liked this so much, they decided to show 2 replays of that botch. Rocca gets in her first cheap shot, and Creed slides onto the floor. Petey lands a nice-looking slingshot over the top rope into a Hurricane Rana. We get a forearm exchange. Creed hits a springboard facebuster, then he does a dance. Creed
Shucking and jiving.
Well, hey, that's... Well, if he dies, he dies. So, this was the first time I'd ever seen the Consequences Creed character. And, I don't know, Xavier Woods is a much better upgrade here.
He was Xavier Consequence, whatever you want to call him, was only like in his early 20s here.
Well, he hadn't been with the company for very long. He'd probably only been with TNA for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And so they decided, well.
And he was also going to college at this time, I guess, which, what a way to pay for your college loans by trying to go to TNA and work for them.
How funny is it that, normally the guys will have to take other jobs to pay for their wrestling. No, he has to wrestle in order to pay for his school.
That's a fun irony.
Because I can't imagine Consequences Creed's payday for this show was very high.
Can't imagine anybody's payday for this show was very high.
So, Petey counters a gutbuster and he slaps on a sharpshooter. Creed makes the ropes.
Ring the damn bell. Oh wait, that's somebody else.
The referee is having a damn seizure here trying to get Petey to break. He reaches the ropes and Slick Johnson is waving his arms and he's jumping up and down. He's, come on, you gotta, it's like, just start the count. This was terrible. Rocca Khan attempts to interfere in slow motion and Creed gives her a fireman carry into a cutter. Creed then counters another destroyer and he hits, I guess, the best way I could, describe it as Adam Page's rite of passage. He gets that for a 2. And then we get Sheikh Abdul Bashir, another guy that I had completely forgotten about.
Davari.
Who's Sean Davari. So Bashir hits Creed with a chair when the ref wasn't looking. Petey hits the destroyer, gets the win.
And then Sheikh Bashir beats him up and says, take a look at your American.
Yeah, one thing we should note, Sheikh Abdul Bashir born in Minneapolis.
Whoops.
So,
evil foreigner born in Minnesota.
Right. So, to the back.
Oh, wrestling, everybody. With Lauren? Or who was she in the back with?
Well, no, the first one was Jeremy Borash. He's in the back with Samoa Joe and Kevin Nash, who looks exactly like the Cowardly Lion's grandpa. Why is Nash hanging out here?
Well, ironically enough, he was Oz, so,
Well, he's just hanging out with no shirt on. He doesn't have a match. He's not booked in here. But he just goes to the back with his long gray hair and just decides not to wear a shirt.
Grandpa! Nash is going to go look for Sting.
Yeah, he's going to beat up Sting, even though that's not his opponent. And then Nash says, don't worry, I got your back.
I got him.
And then
I got this.
Joe remembers that it is in fact Booker T who is the opponent tonight.
Oh boy, that's fun.
Video recap of the women's 6-person tag.
This is your women's match for the show. We don't have a Knockouts title match. Gail and Angelina, who were feuding going up to the show, had a match at the last pay-per-view, as did Taylor Wilde and Awesome Kong. And now we have a 6-woman. With Awesome Kong teaming with the Beautiful People, 3 people who would never team, in real life.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to call this an 8-woman match because Tracy Brooks.
Well, that would actually be a 9-woman match.
Tracy Brooks comes out wearing her ample bosom was on display here,
and her horrible Aerosmith cover.
So Tracy Brooks is the guest referee. She is looking exactly like what you would expect a Vince Russo women's referee to look like.
Vince Russo hates women, everybody.
Right. He must have been turned down in high school by every woman. So.
Oh, he's only been with one apparently, if you believe certain people.
Oh, I'm sure. Beautiful People do the rope hump entrance, and Tracy Brooks, with her breasts defying gravity, just looks at the Beautiful People with utter disgust. I can't believe they would be so gratuitous and sexual.
I hope the cameraman does not look at my breasts.
Awesome Kong is the only one that gets her weight announced. Do you remember what she weighed in at?
No.
270 3/8 pounds. No.
3/8 is important.
No scale. Okay. First of all, we're stupid, so we're supposed to believe this. No scale measures eighth of a pound.
Nope.
I'm looking at the bathroom scale right now in my closet. There's no eighth. Fuck this company.
TNA, everybody.
So they're taking on the what the fuck's the match?
It's Gail Kim, Taylor Wilde, and ODB.
Oh yeah.
Versus the beautiful people in Kong. And by the way, I've said it back when she was on the Impact show. I was never a fan of ODB.
No, she grated on my nerves, and I completely forgot that Taylor Wilde was a champion of any sort. So
she was random fan in the audience who beat Awesome Kong the week before pay-per-view and got the title for it for some reason.
Were they watching the Santino Umaga angle right before this?
Probably.
That's the only thing I can think of. So ODB comes in.
And got fired because somebody noticed her at her real job at Sunglass Hut. Hey, you look like that girl that wrestles. Why are you working here?
Aren't you a famous wrestler? It's like, no, I made like $85 on that show. So
I don't get paid. That's why I work here.
ODB is dancing and gyrating, and I forgot how annoying she was. Pounding her boobs. Like, apparently ODB smells, and Velvet has to spray the ring with perfume. And ODB,
oh, it's Lady Arrogance.
ODB sprays her vagina with the perfume.
Gross.
Who's the babyface here?
Velvet. You make me want to cheer the heels who are, well, other than Gail Kim, are more attractive anyway.
I was begging.
Well, and Kong.
I was begging no one to come into the room here and see me watching this.
Oh, yes, one of the things that would make you ashamed to be a fan.
Yep. So finally, Gail comes in and does some actual wrestling moves with Velvet that looked, was at least fairly good. Kong comes in, she lays out the baby faces, she gets sent to the floor. Raisha Saeed, who is
Cheerleader Melissa,
who's the one of the best looking female athletes. So what are we going to do? We're going to cover her face. So she's interfering, and Tracy sends her away. And Velvet tries.
And Kong could not give a shit because she's beating people up.
Okay. Velvet tries an octopus hold on ODB, and the only thing that was accomplished here was she showed her ass crack to the camera.
Well, didn't we already get that in the entrance? Why?
My parents must be so proud of me. Angelina and Gail are now doing stuff. There's a fan facing the heart camera with a sign that just says boobs.
Goody. Women's Revolution, TNA, the company that started the Women's Revolution, everybody.
See, I'm sure this is allowed, but the AEW shirts are being banned. Gail gets the coldest hot tag to Taylor. Angelina attempts a rock bottom.
Because Gail's the one who should be getting the fucking hot tag.
Taylor counters a victory roll for a win. No one cares. To the back.
With Lauren, who is harassing Team 3D, and who is looking for Sting. And Brother Ray is afraid of heights, so Lauren is a bitch and mocks him for it. What the fuck?
So the Dudley Boys and Lauren are walking through the rafters trying to find Sting, and we're made known. Now keep in mind, Bubba has been in ladder matches and cage matches, and he's had a lengthy career, and there's probably been lots of times where he's been high up. Now all of a sudden, we're supposed to believe that he's scared of heights.
Well, maybe he never climbed to the top of the cage or the top of the ladder.
And Lauren, being the bitch bully, he's like, oh, it's pretty shaky up here, and she starts to pretend to shake the rafters, and Bully is scared of heights, and
Devon's scared of the dark. Quit giving her ammunition to bully you. Which is funny because she's bullying someone whose biggest push would become would be when he became Bully Ray.
Right. And they're like, hey Sting, if you're here, we got your back, buddy. It's gonna be great.
What? No, let's get the hell out of here. Oh, we're also gonna take out Rhino and Christian for you.
TNA Tag Team title match. We have Beer Money taking on LAX.
So they have.
I guess
Homicide got put through a glass table like a few weeks before this, I think.
Yeah, it's glass because it's TNA. We have to
up the violence. Let's put him through glass.
Bobby Roode looks about 25 years younger, and I think
TNA aged him terribly.
he should go back to the long hair. I think that was a good look for him.
A pre-glorious Bobby Roode and one of my favorite probably my favorite TNA tag team with him and James Storm.
So LAX comes out and we get another filthy performance.
At least this one didn't last 20 minutes.
So they're also accompanied by Selena and
Salinas, which is Shelly Martinez,
and the gobbledygooker
Hector Guerrero, who's not going to dance and doesn't have Mean Gene there.
Hey, we thought your brother was cool. So the crowd.
Who the hell are you?
The crowd does not appreciate this crew. I guess there isn't a very high Latin population in New Jersey. So
no.
All four guys are brawling on the outside. Storm sends Hernandez through a barricade. So this is being billed as a street fight. So why is Homicide on the ring apron?
No, it's not.
Patiently waiting for a tag.
No, it's not.
Yeah, wasn't this billed as
No.
Okay.
This is a normal tag title match.
Okay. Well, then
we got a street fight coming later.
That explains it. I was wondering why. Well, if he's just patiently waiting for a tag, and then why is the ref counting for double teams? Okay, so I wasn't paying attention. Shocker.
Yeah, Team 3D probably mentioned it in their promo that their match is a street fight.
So Hernandez does a big Undertaker dive over the top rope onto Beer Money back when Hernandez was good, and
Hernandez was good at one time, wasn't he?
Right, and they actually had some good plans for him, but he's just kind of gone downhill. What is it? What have we seen him do since? So
fuck all.
And Beer Money gets the heat by spitting beer in Homicide's eyes. So apparently.
Homicide got glass in his eye from the glass table, I guess they said.
Right, and he was fine from that, but man, you get that beer.
The beer is like the green mist.
That's like fucking acid. So Beer Money is poking and gouging at Homicide's eyes, and all Homicide can say is, "Ow, my eyes!" And he just...
The blind leading the blind.
He keeps gesturing to the ref about his eyes and how he can't see, and I'm thinking, that should be a ref stoppage. Anyways, Hernandez gets a hot tag. The crowd doesn't give a fuck. This place is deathly quiet. Beer Money does some double teams, including a second rope blockbuster on Hernandez for a 2. We get Homicide, gets the tag back in while still selling his eyes.
Yes, the babyface comes in hot and then tags out like probably maybe 2 or 3 minutes later. I hate that in tag matches.
If that was me, I'd be like, fuck you. I've been in
here 10 minutes. You get some work.
God, they've been getting the heat on me forever. LAX looks like they're about to argue in the ring, and then Homicide convinces Hernandez to give him a border toss over the top rope onto the floor.
That sounds safe.
Onto both Beer Money members. And then Don West claims, that's a world record border toss.
I don't think so.
And you know what? It probably is, because that's probably the record for the longest border toss.
Homicide and Hernandez, back when they both were still good.
I can't imagine a record like that is actually being kept. So that has to be a record.
Somebody call the guy who wrote the book of world records.
So we get Jacqueline comes in and she hits Hernandez in the balls on the outside. Homicide.
No disqualification. Did the ref not see it?
I guess not. Homicide attempts the Gringo Killer on Rude. And Storm bonks Homicide in the eye with a beer bottle because we got.
Was there a ref bump here? Because that's 2 disqualification calls.
No, I know the ref was distracted by someone. I don't know.
Salinas was trying to hit on him.
Probably.
Damn you, Salinas.
Anyways, and probably knowing TNA was probably a shoot beer bottle too. None of this sugar glass bullshit.
Well, they used a glass table.
So we got new tag team champions. Fucking glass. To the back.
With Lauren again.
With
Kevin Nash and Sting.
Kevin Nash and Sting.
These young guys don't get it, man. Yes, they do.
Stinger, we go way back.
Let's cut this promo with as little charisma as we can.
He's Sting. This is, oh, dude, we go way back. But there's no, whatever, Big Kev, there's no other way.
These young guys just don't get it.
And then they cut back to the ring. I don't get this.
No, we have a Jay Lethal Sanjay video for their Black Tie Brawl.
The Black Tie Brawl and Chain match, which is
a tuxedo chain match, everybody.
Right. So we get the Guru, Sanjay Dutt versus Black Machismo, Jay Lethal. So this angle is all about a love triangle. So Jay Lethal was about to marry SoCal Val, and Sanjay got in the way. And so Mike Tenay's putting over that TNA is in Jay Lethal's home state, and his family is in attendance. And I thought, was there a black genius?
No.
Reading poems and tossing frisbees?
Papa Lethal, everybody!
That would have been great.
Just like Papa Briscoe.
So Lethal comes down in a complete white suit. So my immediate reaction is, he's getting color. And
he looks good in that white suit, though.
Yeah, he does. He looks all pimped out.
Yeah.
There was no
all the missing in the top hat.
Well, and there was no blood in this match. Why would you go to the effort of having an all-white suit but have no blood? Okay, one thing I should mention, during the opening video package when they were showing all a preview of all the major matches, everybody was bleeding. You had Joe busted open. Booker was gushing blood. They showed Angle and AJ both just bleeding buckets.
The hype for this match was not in the opening video.
They explained that you could win by pin or stripping the tuxedo off, but they're
oh god!
But see, they're chained at the wrist. So how would you get a tuxedo jacket out through that chain?
God damn it, TNA!
So,
son of a bitch!
I really struck a nerve with this one out.
Also, this match is terrible, and your most interesting part leaks halfway through.
Yeah, well, when it comes to Lethal's family, is that what you're getting at?
No, SoCal Val, trying to act. Attempting to act like she actually doesn't want to kill herself watching this.
So Lethal starts the match.
Look at these two guys fighting over me. What do I do?
Lethal starts the match by cheating. So Sanjay has the chain already wrapped around his wrist, and Lethal decides. And actually, there's a pretty smart move. He attaches his end of the chain to the top rope, which renders Sanjay helpless, and he is trapped. And he starts to beat him up, and then the ref gets the chain back on Lethal, and then Dutt crotches him with the chain. So Dutt gets thrown over the top rope. Then he hits a tope to the floor, and the chain lands right on Dutt's face. That must have sucked.
That's safe. That's a good idea.
Lethal ties Dutt to the ring post on the outside with the chain, and then as he is tied up, he's like, I'm going to stand back. I'm going to admire my work. I will clothesline this man. I will extend my arm to the side, showing him that I'm about to clothesline him, and then run at him, and he will move. And I will say, ow, because I clothesline the post.
Lethal starts to choke out Sanjay with the chain, and SoCal Val decides, screw this, I don't want to be here no more.
Dutt gets Lethal's shirt off. So on the outside, Dutt is taunting members of Jay Lethal's family, including his real-life girlfriend, AJ Lee, who was shown on camera. And I wonder if she knows about Val.
Nope.
You think Val knows about AJ? Well, I would assume now. It's been 11 years.
Yeah.
So the crowd starts chanting boring, much like I am right now. Lethal
and Fire Russo.
Yeah, there was a Fire Russo chant. Dutt hits a sliced bread number 2 for a 2. See what I did there? Time stands still, and both guys get tangled up in the chain, and Lethal finally hits a sloppy-looking top rope elbow for the win.
Yay! Terrible match, everybody.
I will start with the pluses. You know my opinion of Jay Lethal and the Lethal Injection. It's a fucking stupid move. I hate it. We did not see it in this match. That's good.
Yeah, he wasn't doing it yet.
They also didn't start this personal blood feud with wrestling holds.
Also good. Minus is the rest of the match.
To the back. Okay, so I guess Booker T had only been in TNA for a little while, and I guess he was just coming off doing the King Booker gimmick.
Yes, he came at the end of 2007 because he was fired because of the, whatever, I think he was part of that steroid scandal with the pharmacy there, whatever, from 07. I forget what the name of the pharmacy was.
You mean the one where
Signature.
Yeah, where Orton got off scot-free?
Yeah, that one.
So, Booker is in his King Booker gimmick, which is turned down about 50%, and it doesn't work here, and you can, like, if you can't commit to it 100%, don't do it at all. And he knew that he was half-assing it, although I laughed when he said, when he called Borash Jeremiah. Booker, Jeremiah, we're sitting here, with Sting is the crown jewel. Booker and Sting don't respect Samoa Joe. Joe is nothing but a backyard trailer park wannabe worker. Inside lingo. So the championship will stay with him, and he takes a sip of champagne with both hands, a la Trump, and then proceeds to have either some sort of orgasm or a seizure while drinking the champagne.
That champagne's a powerful stuff.
It goes to you quickly. I guess old Book can't hold his liquor.
Which would surprise me if he can't.
Now we get the Jersey Street Fight. We get a video package it's Team 3D versus Rhino and Christian. The video package shows Christian challenging 3D to, quote, their type of match. And I'm automatically thinking, like everyone else, it's a tables match. But no, it's a Jersey Street Fight. And Bubba says, we're from New York. That's our kind of match. So
you're not... Wait, what?
Yeah.
Who wrote that?
Who's doing this? Who's writing this shit? We should note also that they have no production team making Titantron videos, and all the video clips they show on the screen is that shitty TNA video game. And
that I probably bought.
All the guys were using that as an entrance. This is so ghetto. They have big video screens on either side of the entrance. And I never played that game, but I know it's a shitty game, because TNA tells us that it was done by Midway, and Midway only came out with one fun game, and that was NBA Jam. Everything else they made was wet garbage.
He's heating up.
Boom shakalaka.
I only remember that from all the Coliseum video segments with with Todd Pettengill,
Todd Pettingzoo.
Yes.
No, Midway also made the WrestleMania arcade game. So,
I think I played that one.
So if you want to be Undertaker shooting ghosts at your opponent, you can do that.
They make the horrible In Your House game, which I bought in like 2000.
Where you could be Vader versus Ahmed Johnson.
Yeah.
Or have the Owen Hart themed ring, which is just full of King of Heart cards.
Or where Shawn Michaels shoots hearts at you.
As one does.
He's Cupid, apparently.
We're gonna have to do an episode of just video games.
Well, I've got an idea for our next episode, but it's not that. We'll get to that at the end of the show, though.
This is a Falls Count Anywhere match, a tag match, but there's only one referee. So
because they only have two referees in the company,
and we're stupid. So
is it a Hebner?
There's a quick brawl to start. And Bully gives Christian a scary-looking backdrop, and Don West killing the business, saying, oh, he almost didn't over-rotate on that move.
Thanks, Don.
Why not just say something like, oh, his work rate wasn't great, and now he's got heat. Like,
oh, Jesus. No, that's another Don.
Yeah. So they pair off, and we get the ever-effective split screen.
Oh, God.
I'm already watching this on, like, a 15-inch laptop monitor, and now I'm watching two separate matches on two, 5-inch monitors. Thank God we're not doing World War III.
Oh, we'll try to stay as far away from those shows.
No, I'm shutting that shit down now.
No World War III?
Hey, stop it.
Okay.
They're all fighting in the concourse of the arena. All four guys are just crowd brawling is always bad. And Rhino gives Devon a beer shower.
Because you always think one of the fans is going to accidentally take a punch.
Well, I'd be more upset, I go to these sporting events, and those beers aren't cheap. So Rhino grabs a fan's beer, dumps it over Devon, that fan probably paid $12 for that beer.
Was it worth it?
I'd be pissed off. So Christian jumps off a balcony onto someone. I don't know who because the camera missed it. We actually do get a TNA chant, so the fans are finally interested in something on this show. The steel steps get involved. People start taking bumps off of it. The Dudleys finally get a table in the ring, and they set it up in the corner. Now, there's a funny spot here where Christian is dead, selling in the corner, but he has in his possession a stop sign. You should know that in a street fight, you can use stop signs and all manner of plunder. So Devon charges at him in the corner, and Christian holds up the stop sign. So Devon stops. He looks around. He assesses the situation, and then gets gored by Rhino. Why would you stop just because he held up a stop sign?
Because I guess that's what you're supposed to do.
He didn't threaten to hit him with the stop sign. He requested, Devon, please stop your forward motion because there's oncoming traffic coming from the opposite direction. The finish here was extremely anticlimactic. The table is still set up in the corner. Rhino gores Bubba, who...
No, we have Christian doing the frog splash off the ladder first, and then Rhino goring... that's on to Devon, and then Rhino gores
right.
Bubba through the table.
They brought the one of the ladders in, which of course has to have the big shiny TNA Wrestling.com branding on the side of it.
Why not?
Why not? So the table is set up in the corner. Rhino gores Bubba, who's, I'm assuming, supposed to go through the table. And the table's supposed to break, but it doesn't. It's a shoot table. And Rhino gets the pin on Bubba on a table that didn't break. So
I am the table.
So at first, I thought, Bubba knew the table spot was supposed to be the finish. And he's been around long enough to know if it doesn't work, you call an audible. You do another table spot where the table actually breaks, then do the finish. But this is TNA. He probably thought, fuck this company, we're going home. And they did.
Johnny Devine comes in, and we get a beatdown.
I didn't know who this was until they identified him, and then I realized the only thing I know about Johnny Devine was that he was part of a grocery store shoplifting syndicate in Calgary years ago.
Oh, boy.
Don West
and then here's Abyss.
Don West tries to say the word kendo stick shots, but he flubbed his words and he said kendo shits. And,
Don West, everybody.
The beat down continues when the lights go out. Abyss comes on. There was a lot of power outages in this show. With the whatever arena this was in New Jersey didn't pay their hydro bill or something, but the lights come up. Abyss is shown, and I guess he's been away for a while. I don't know. He tries to beat up the heels, and then he decides not to use weapons. So, what's the story here?
Okay, so I believe Abyss had his. Well, no, the story was that Abyss at the beginning of the year was feuding with James Mitchell, where they revealed that James Mitchell was his father.
Wait,
and then
this was the Macias?
Yeah,
oh,
and they had a barbed wire match, which was shitty because I hate barbed wire matches. But and then Abyss disappeared for a few months, which he would do the next year, and which is where we get all the Dr. Stevie stuff.
In the meantime, we got Joseph Park, right? Because Abyss came out
that's
tonight.
Much later.
Didn't Abyss come out wearing Park? He had Park written on the back of his jumpsuit.
I think that he was. I guess the gimmick here was that he was in an insane asylum.
Oh, and they called him Chris or something? They called him by his real name?
Because weapons, and then, they do the whole thing where he makes a save and he has the weapon. Is he gonna use it? And he's like, eh.
Sounds riveting.
Yeah.
This wouldn't be a very good advertisement for the Global Wrestling Network website, is it?
No.
Trust me, there is some good stuff on there. I'm bound and determined to find some good stuff. So Lauren is in the back interviewing AJ. AJ spoke with Sting, and everything is water under the bridge. But there's no recap as to what that's about.
Because he's lying.
They're so adamant about showing replays and packages and recaps. So show a recap here. I didn't know what was going on.
He did not speak with Sting. He was lying.
So he cuts a fiery promo on Kurt, begging him.
I told you I didn't sleep with your wife, and you did not believe me.
That was the worst accent I ever heard.
I sound like a reverend.
So, as far as I can tell, the angle here, like I said, I wasn't following closely.
No pun intended.
The video package tells a tale of AJ hitting on Kurt's wife, passionately kissing her. Kurt justifiably is pissed and then attacks him. And we're supposed to think Kurt's the heel in this?
Because AJ's the homegrown boy.
Fuck this company.
Pro wrestling, everybody.
I watched this angle unfold for 30 seconds during this video program, and that's what I got. So, we get more blood, AJ taking a stupid, nasty, unprotected chair shot. Right.
There were pinfalls in this match for some...
right
we're not talking about the match
yet. Dome. We get more video game Titantron entrances. I think this was the first time I've ever actually heard Kurt's TNA theme. Was it always that, like, hip-hop remix or something?
No. We know what the WWE... Oh, yes, it was. Yes, it was.
So Angle has this big Band-Aid on his forehead, because when you get hit by a ladder, the previous weekend you're spilling blood like a water fountain, a single Band-Aid will help. And that was on free TV. They didn't even make you pay for the ladder shot.
Now let's get into the match, because in this match, you can win by your opponent not... by not responding to the ref's 10 count, but you can also pin people for some reason.
Yeah, TNA says, it took in the neighborhood of 7 or 8 stitches to close the gash. Well, was it 7 or was it 8? Single-digit numbers do not require...
7.5!
Maybe it was 7 3/8. This is TNA and we're stupid. It's like, you don't use in the neighborhood of. You use that term if you're estimating attendance at a sporting event. So Don says we're going to see a different side of Kurt, who is in a blind, jealous rage over something AJ never did.
And they trade homes.
We saw the video. He kissed Karen.
Yep. There's no intensity in the beginning of this match from what I noticed.
No, Kurt stalled for what seemed like hours. They went to go for a lockup, and then Kurt would bail, and then he would come back in, and Kurt would bail. So this happened about 3 or 4 times. Finally, Kurt...
They're supposed to, and this is your complaint about, the blood feud. They're supposed to be in a blood feud here.
Yeah, the two of them should have just been running at each other and just doing like the Don Fry Takayama punching spots.
Yes. Or they should have been fighting on the ramp or something. But no, we get stalling for 5 minutes.
So AJ's chasing him out. Kurt jumps him back in the ring. AJ makes his first comeback, and Kurt probably told him to lay it in, because AJ sure did. Some of those chops in the corners and punches that AJ was giving him, there was no, when he's laying in those punches, he's not slapping his leg for the sound. That was just fist on skull. And AJ attempts a spring, so Kurt gets clotheslined out of the ring, and AJ hits this monster out of control flip dive to the outside. Unlike Xavier Woods, AJ cleared the ring apron, so he's a professional. AJ attempts a springboard DDT off the guardrail. Angle catches him in midair and gives him a release Northern Lights suplex onto the rail, and AJ lands right on the back of his neck. They fight up the aisle. AJ suplexes Angle on the wooden ramp. Now they're fighting at the top of the ramp, and AJ is laying in punches. Angle is teetering almost over the edge. Kurt ducks a punch and tosses AJ over his head off the stage, and then does a flip dive on his own. And I'd never seen Kurt do a flip dive before. And
nope.
That gets a near fall on the outside. Now I know why Kurt was hopped up on so many pain pills back in the day.
Why are there pinfalls in this?
Because it's a falls count anywhere.
Last man standing, falls count anywhere match.
They make up the rules as they go along. I'm positive that the announcers really didn't know what the rules were.
Nope.
It's really quite simple.
No, I think the ring and Penzer actually said that pinfalls counted.
We get a chin lock, as both guys probably needed to catch their wind. So Angle has a chin lock on AJ. Don makes the point that even if you submit, the match isn't over. You still have to beat the 10 count. So why doesn't AJ just submit and have the hold broken, and then just stand up? Like, it's not
because
it's TNA and we're stupid.
Yep.
This isn't an Iron Man match where they get, that's one fall already. Just the second you put in a submission hold, just tap out. And then you have a 10 count to get to your feet. They pointed this out on the broadcast. So is Don West stupid for bringing up the point, or is TNA stupid for booking the match?
Both?
AJ then gets Angle in the torture rack. Again, announcers asking him, why doesn't he submit?
And no Lex Luger promo on Angle.
Each guy is attempting the other guy's finisher. AJ has the ankle lock on Angle. Finally, Angle
taps.
Yeah, he taps out. He's finally grown a fucking brain. And he's like, well, I'll just tap out. And then he beats the count at 9. And there's a lot of gasping in this. AJ tries a flip, but Angle gives him a blatant nut shot. So, in 2008, a young Shinsuke Nakamura was probably scouting this match and thought, in 10 years...
One of these days.
In 10 years, I'll fight AJ multiple times. This dick punch seems to be a sound strategy. No, this was not a DQ, even though it was never announced that this is a no DQ match. I guess by its very nature being a last man standing, we're just going to assume there's no DQ. And if that's the case...
Why are there pinfalls?
Not only that, both guys are attempting to reach the ropes to break the hold. Why would it matter?
Because they're probably not adjusted to having this type of match. Although Kurt probably had a few in WWE.
There's no consistency here. AJ hits a Pele kick. Both guys are down. The ref starts the 10 count on both guys. But there's no pinfall. So the last man standing doesn't even need to get pinned with a 10 count? Or just...
go to the finish.
Keep in mind, this was the best match of the show.
It is the best match of the show, but oh my god.
AJ hits the Olympic Slam. Kurt gets another pinfall. So if this were an Iron Man match, he'd be up 2-0 by now.
If it was 2 out of 3 falls, he would have already won.
Ref starts counting again. AJ beats the count. AJ then tries to get the pin with the Styles Clash. Tenay telegraphs the finish by saying, let's see how close the ref gets to the 10 count. So you're telling us that this isn't going to be the finish either. Both guys are fighting on the top rope. AJ hits this top rope DDT, which looked like it just killed Angle. And Angle decides, I'm going to hit this mat like a dead corpse that got thrown off a balcony. And he just splatted on the mat in a heap. This looked sick, and every fan in the first 5 rows gasped in fear. The whole arena literally went silent. AJ got the pinfall and dramatically beat the count for the win. So AJ's your winner. The refs start calling for EMTs and emergency staff to help Kurt out. What did you think of this match and this finish particularly?
Well, the finish is scary as hell. It looked like like Tenay was saying on commentary, it looked like he could have seriously been injured. And then, the match itself, like I said in the beginning, it lacked the intensity of a last man standing match should have, but it's probably the best, it's definitely the best on this show.
Yeah, I don't think there was a whole lot of drama, but yeah, that DDT, if you haven't seen that, I'm going to try and get an animated GIF of that. There's really no way to describe it. Like, we've seen people over the years take the DDT certain ways. Rob Van Dam has a specific way of taking it.
Val Venus.
Yep. Anyone that just kind of posts up. This just looked like he literally just looked like he got tossed from the top of a building and just crashed, and it looked gross. The EMTs have Kurt on a stretcher or like a backboard. AJ runs back to the ring, rips him off the stretcher, and drops him on his head with a brainbuster or a suplex. But there's no ref or no EMT is attempting to stop this. Like, if this were like a real EMT, like I'm sure they would, put themselves in harm's way in order to get this big bully wrestler off of him. So AJ goes up the ramp. The lights go out again. Lights come back on, and we have Sting. And he has AJ in death drop position, and he lays him out. And then as Sting is...
To a baby face pop.
Right. And then as Sting is leaving, Nash comes out. He's looking like
man.
He's looking like the ghost of Christmas past in an Affliction t-shirt. Sting,
why'd you do that?
Why'd you do that, man? Nash sounds like every referee that's ever tried to break up a fight. Come on, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah.
I'm doing what I'm paid to do. I'm fighting.
TNA says, I'm just trying to regroup and think this through. You know, me too. They show highlights of the match. They show the DDT spot. TNA said, this is really hard to watch, so they decide to show that replay about 3
Are they talking about the match or the show?
I don't know. Fuck. But, they didn't need the last man standing stip. This was clearly the best match of the show, but the stip, I think, took away from the luster, and the whole AJ Sting Nash could have been saved for the next TV. So, like, in the moment, why not have us give the attention to the recently deceased Kurt Angle?
And we showed the replay a bunch of times.
So this was a to-the-back moment, and now we get a video package hyping up our main event, the six sides of steel with weapons.
Easy for you to say.
No.
Six sides of steel with weapons.
With weapons.
And the side of cheese.
They can't say 6 sides of steel without with weapons. So we get another video package. There's a shot of Booker walking down the locker room wearing the belt, which at this point I still didn't know that he wasn't the actual champion or not. He just had
stolen it at the last pay-per-view, which was in Houston.
And it's taken a month for them to recapture this belt, and no one from the office has put any sort of enforcement saying, hey, fucker,
especially with Jim Cornette there
give us our belt back. You're not the champ.
No, it's my belt. I stole it from somebody.
Jeremiah. And then we cut to another video package saying the same thing the last one said. You know, the one that we just watched 20 seconds ago. Booker T comes up for his main event match. Again, I had never heard his TNA theme. If you haven't, just listen to his Harlem Heat theme, turned up to about 78 speed.
This match is confusing and not good.
We get Jeremiah Borash playing the role of Bruce Buffer during the introductions.
And he's not a bad announcer.
No, he's actually pretty good.
And probably doesn't get the credit he deserves for it.
So there's various weapons hanging on the inside of the cage. You get your typical stuff, your steel chairs, your garbage cans, and then you get the Home Depot potpourri, which includes old man canes and axe handles.
Was a young Vinny Marseglia watching this show?
Like, if you're gonna have an axe handle, why don't you go all the way? Put the fucking axe on it.
Take it all the way. Well, never mind. Just move on.
Were you quoting Rosanna?
Yes.
I got the reference.
Very good.
A song by Toto, I believe.
Yes.
I didn't know you were old enough to even know what that song was. I wish I could put that song in the opening, but
legal issues.
Yeah,
we don't want Stevie to get sued.
As it has been pointed out to me, I can't put that type of music in here. I've been busted more than once by Big Boss Man here. So the bell rings for this opening, or to open this main event, and there's only 15 minutes left on the broadcast. Way to show people that you give a shit about your main event.
Yeah. Well, that's because every match on this show got ample time.
They exchange chops and elbows to start. Booker gets a kendo stick, but it's cut off. Joe sends him into the corner. Joe's walking around the ring looking for a weapon. There is a kendo stick literally right at your feet, but he walks the entire length of the ring and takes the garbage can lid down. Fuck this company. Because
oh, God.
The stick is right there. Joe kicks the garbage can into Booker's face. Now Joe decides to find the stick and beat him up. Joe gives Booker the concerto with 2 garbage can lids. Booker does a spin. This is a stupid show. Okay, we get a top rope cutter. So Booker.
By the way, this is why you don't do all gimmick match shows.
I'm running out of steam here. We get an
finish.
We get an unprotected chair shot on Joe, so he's bleeding. Joe hits a top rope cutter. Booker slaps on a guillotine choke, but the ref makes him break. because Joe's foot is on the bottom rope in a steel cage match. Thank God there's only 6 minutes left in this pay-per-view. The crowd is shitting on this. Hebner is the ref, so we get a "You screwed Brett" chant. Both guys.
Of course.
Both guys are standing on the top rope, fighting to escape the cage. Joe hits a jumping enziguri, which is a kick to the back of Booker's head. And in the process, Joe takes a back bump from the top rope to the mat. And meanwhile, Booker...
Typical, that's good logic.
Booker is still standing on the top rope, and he takes him about 3 or 4 seconds before he starts teetering and then crotches himself. Okay, that top rope is 4.5 feet high. And Joe's not a small dude. So he jumped, probably, 2 feet higher than that, hit a kick, and then proceeded to drop over 6 feet straight onto his back onto the mat. Booker, the heel, does the spinneroonie, which the fans pop for. He hits the axe kick. The lights go out again. Don West said, "Could it be Sting?" Thus confirming that it wasn't going to be Sting. The lights come
back on, and we see a broken guitar.
Joe has a fucking guitar. He does the El Kabong on Booker and gets the pin.
He had a guitar! We know what that means!
Joe gets the belt. Most of the crowd looks exhausted, not in the good way. Booker stares at the guitar pieces in shock and bug-eyed, as only Booker can. And the announcers,
"What the hell?
Does this mean, could he be coming back?" And they tease Jeff Jarrett returning. They fade to black, and mercifully this show's over.
Good Lord.
I thought I would, this one's on me. I admit that. I tried to do some research. I looked up a standard top 10 matches of TNA history, and the Angle Joe Falls Count Anywhere was, I think, number 2 or something like that. And the Unbreakable 3-Way was number 1. So I thought, well, why not give this one a shot? So I went out of my way to find this. I made you watch this.
Which I have the DVD because it came in a 2-pack with something, a 3-pack with something else.
So you actually paid money for this?
Yeah, probably. And I probably bought the pay-per-view too. There's a reason I don't rewatch these shows a lot of the time.
The fact that you ordered it on pay-per-view and yet still bought the DVD, that makes me laugh. Although, I have been sitting on my laptop going through iTunes, and I have purchased a movie on iTunes that I already own on DVD simply because I was too lazy to get up and find the DVD and put it in the player.
Yeah!
I'm scrolling through iTunes, and I'm thinking, if Shawshank Redemption is less than $15, I'm buying it. $14.99.
That's a good movie.
Sold.
That's a good movie.
Just trying to distract my brain from this show.
Speaking of distracting, the Royal Rumble was this weekend.
Yeah.
And let's go.
Before we get to the Royal Rumble, I'm just going to give a quick plug for TNA's, NXT TakeOver Phoenix. Myself and Peach Machine are going to be up on the Angry Marks website with a post-game show. I have received a confirmation from Peach via Twitter that he is going to be available. So he and I will be talking about TNA. God, I did it again.
WWE NXT TakeOver, wherever the hell Royal Rumble is. Phoenix.
Royal Rumble, go.
Our predictions. Cruiserweight title match. Buddy Murphy, Atami, Cedric, and Kalisto? I don't know. I don't watch 205.
Okay, I'm going to pull up the card here.
Yep.
Oh,
I know Buddy Murphy's a champion because he's been on a couple of the pay-per-views recently.
Yeah. Royal Rumble. Oh, this is going to be like a 7-hour show, too.
6 hours, 2-hour pre-show, 4-hour main.
I'm not watching the pre-show.
Which is probably where this Cruiserweight match is going to end up.
Matches, Wikipedia.
I watched the pre-show, well, I have it on in the background.
Yeah. Okay, Buddy Murphy the champ versus Tozawa, Atami, and Kalisto.
Buddy Murphy retains by pinning Kalisto.
Yeah, I think he's going to retain too. I think he's going to pin Tommy because he's
why not?
He's a job guy now.
Okay, The Bar versus The Miz and Shane for the tag titles.
Oh, if they don't kill Shane, I'll be very disappointed.
Here's your title change for tonight, everybody. Miz and Shane win. It continues that angle until we eventually get the Miz turn to set up WrestleMania.
Isn't it a conflict of interest for Shane to be a champ of his own brand?
Vince was. Both Vinces were.
Good point. Next.
Raw Women's title, Ronda versus Sasha.
Oh, I think this is it's a given. Ronda's retaining.
Yep. Will we see Sasha in the Women's Rumble, depending on, I guess, where the card ends up. Where that match ends up on the card, I guess.
I would assume so.
Because they have 21 women in there.
Well, I think a lot of these people are doing double duty, so.
Rusev versus Nakamura, U.S. title.
My official prediction is that no one cares about this program, and people have forgotten that this match is even on this show.
Rusev retains, and I think Nakamura is on his way out.
I don't know when his contract is ending, but I can see New Japan making a big bid for him, especially them losing pretty much the entire Bullet Club.
Their biggest draw. Brock versus Balor.
Brock.
Asuka versus Becky.
Becky to set up.
Asuka retains.
Oh, that's right. Asuka's the champ, isn't she?
Yes.
Okay, so then we get. Wait. Okay, why is Becky not winning? Oh, because Becky's going to win the Royal Rumble. That's why.
No, she's not. I got a prediction on that in a minute. Okay. Bryan versus AJ.
Oh.
If they want to keep AJ, they got to give him the belt back, but I don't see that happening. I see Orton getting involved and starting that program for Mania.
What, for between AJ and
Orton? Orton and AJ, yep.
So what do you do with Bryan then?
That's Bryan interesting. Maybe a triple. What?
Bryan and Balor?
Bryan and Cena if he's not seriously injured.
Bryan and Omega.
I don't think we see Omega. I think he's AEW bound, but.
That's too bad.
Yeah. And speaking of Rumbles, let's go with the women's one first. And I've got 3 ways we're gonna do this. We're gonna do winner, longest time, and, who's gonna get the big push.
Oh, God. Okay.
That goes for both Rumbles.
I would like to see, Becky find a way to be the winner.
I see Becky being the Daniel Bryan in this, from 2014 where you're gonna get, Carmella's 30. We already know that.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get to number 29 and people are gonna be expecting Becky and here comes one of the Bellas.
Big push. I don't know. They just called up Lacey Evans. Did they do anything with her?
I think Nikki Cross might get the big push. And your winner is Charlotte, I think.
I think it comes down to Charlotte, but I don't think she wins.
Or maybe we get the Brett Lex finish from the 94 Rumble if Becky ends up in the Rumble. With Charlotte and Becky.
Think they're looking to do a 3-way at Mania, though?
We have 2 pay-per-views in between now and then, after the Rumble. True. So you can have that to kill a couple of months, probably a month or 2 of build there. And then your men's Rumble.
I think the odds-on has to be Braun.
I think Seth is winning. I think Drew gets the big push, and I think your most eliminated is Lashley.
I'm going to go with the monster push is Lars Sullivan. I think he debuts in that match.
If he doesn't have anxiety issues.
Yeah, if he doesn't stick out in front of 40,000 people.
And next up I have a little thing for you here, and that's the Super Bowl wager. Because I saw one of the games. I saw a little bit of the Pats game last night.
Yeah, I caught the tail end of that and I was only interested because one of my buddies is a hardcore Chiefs fan, and I was tweeting him throughout that fourth quarter and the overtime, basically saying that you must not, I quoted Bobby Heenan from the 92 Rumble, and I said, I don't have a fingernail left on my hand.
So are we both not football fans here?
I am, but if the Green Bay Packers are not involved, I tend to not pay attention.
Yeah, and I don't watch football, so maybe we can just skip that. But
I'm assuming that, or my official bet is that a lot of people will watch it.
Yeah. And that means I have the next pick for in 2 weeks, because I don't think we're going to get one in next week with all the Rumble stuff going on.
Unlikely. So
yeah. My next pick is, since you picked out of the box with TNA, I'm going to pick a Coliseum video.
Okay. Oh, please. Okay. You go ahead and pick, and then I'm gonna say what I hope it is.
Why don't you Invasion of the Body Slammers.
Is that the one with Kamala Bowling?
Yes.
Sweet.
And that'll be in 2 weeks, because we need a little reprieve from this shit show that we just watched.
Okay, one thing I always realized, one thing I always saw with these Coliseum videos is that they protected everyone. There were hardly any clean finishes in those shows. Lots of walkout countouts.
Well, I mean, a lot of these shows are also, dark matches from tapings. So, if you went to TV tapings, you sat through probably 3 to 4 hours of squashes to get to these matches, and they weren't going to change the titles in a way where you're not going to see them.
We'll probably get a Blake Beverly singles match.
Oh, actually, I can give you the run-through here if you want it. We have Yokozuna versus Earthquake. We have the Nasty Boys versus the Beverly Brothers. We have Bam Bam versus Typhoon. We have The Undertaker versus Papa Shango. We have Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels for the IC title, which is weird because this guy...
Was that the ladder match?
No, that was on the previous Coliseum, one of the previous Coliseum videos. Which, they're on the network, which is where you can find them. Unless you have them.
I used to have them.
So did I. Undertaker versus Shango, which I mentioned. 16-man over-the-top battle royal, which was actually on a Monday Night Raw. Tatanka versus the Repo Man, and Mr. Perfect versus Ric Flair, but it's not the match you're thinking.
It's not the retirement match?
No. Although that is on another Coliseum video, but not one that was released around here.
Okay.
In the States. So that'll be in 2 weeks.
Alrighty. Well, Mike, this has been something.
Oh, it has been.
I appreciate you. Thanks very much for everybody for joining us. If you've stuck around this long, you're better than I am. I'm off to bed. Good
night, everybody.
Wait, before you go, you're going to mention the Impact Implosion.
Yes, which is not hosted by me anymore, but taking up the slack because this person actually has a network. Is Cindy Saddleman, who I believe is hosting the Impact Implosion, which you can find on AngryMarks.com or on YouTube, where you can also find us.
Yeah, I listened to the first episode, and she was great, and I guess she is the only person in the
on this network that probably has
the Pursuit channel.
Yep.
But,
and on that note,
I get it on the Fight Network. So, if she ever needs someone, if she's hearing this, let me know.
Okay. And on that note, we will talk to you guys in 2 weeks.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Who's writing this shit?